everybody. Happy New Year, and welcome back to Pessimistic at Best, the podcast. I am your host, Samantha Georgeson, and I am coming at you live. Well, not really. I'm coming at you pre-recorded. And I'm recording on my brand spanking new podcast mic. And I'm so excited about this. I actually have two of them. I got them for Christmas. They were gifted by my incredible podcast producer and the love of my life, James. And he knows a thing or two about audio equipment as he makes music himself. So yeah. I mean, I know you guys can't see it, but it looks like, it has totally that podcast mic vibe. It has this adorable little stand, but I can take it out and walk around with it. Like, really, this apartment could be my stage right now. And I have two of them, which is exciting because now my guest and we can always have our own, and we can just, hold them and shoot the shit and be sitting on the couch with our little mic in our hand, acting like the fucking bee's knees. And it's going to be amazing. So I'm super excited about these. So a huge thank you, James. And I can only imagine how amazing I sound right now. But isn't that so sweet? That's like the most thoughtful Christmas gift maybe of all time. And he's so supportive of this hobby of mine, this little passion project. So I'm so grateful to him, and I'm super excited to be putting these to the test. I will say it was a little bit of a challenge getting it set up. I'm not really a tech savvy person. Like, I'm not anti-tech, but I don't know. Like, technology is not my friend. So it took me, we were texting back and forth. I like to record when he's not in the house for privacy. But yes. But we're here and we're doing it, and I got her hooked up. And, there are little waves, which usually is a sign that I am actually recording myself. So I'm feeling fucking great. I'm feeling positive. But he got me this, and not to brag, but he also got me AirPods. So I'm rich. Isn't that amazing? Technically I'm not rich because I didn't purchase them, but I look rich. And I'm pretty sure that's the whole point of AirPods. Because I was team anti-AirPods for the longest time. I thought they were lame, but then I secretly wanted them. I was definitely a hater when they first came out. And, they still look stupid, but when everyone has the thing that looks dumb, it doesn't really look dumb anymore. So yes, I'm a bandwagoner, and I did get the pros. Let me tell you, those squishy earbud things are fucking sweet, and they have noise canceling, which is cool, but also kind of makes me feel like, I don't know, maybe my ears are blocked, but I think that's kind of the point. But so far it's great. James and I wear them around the house all day, and we can never hear each other when the other one is trying to get our attention. So ignorance is bliss, and it's working out really well. But no, seriously, such thoughtful gifts. And I'm so high tech now, which is cool. It's funny, these were my gifts from him. And then, collectively from our families, we got a bunch of kitchen supplies, which is what we asked for. And how boring is that? But at the same time, I'm so excited. We got a whole set of Rachel Ray pots and pans, and they're fucking sweet. Literally, I'm like a kid opening, a Barbie doll on Christmas morning that she's been wanting for years. And they're awesome. And I'm really excited about them. I still don't like cooking, but at least I have this really cute kitchen that I can be excited about. Oh, yeah. Maybe they'll teach me to like cooking now that I have all these nice tools. But yes, and then we also got a really, really nice set of knives, which I'm super excited about. I haven't actually used them yet, but James was slicing and dicing some shit this morning, and he was really excited. So yeah, look at us adulting. And here I am bragging about all my Christmas presents. Oh, but anyways, yes, I had a wonderful Christmas, a safe, sweet little holiday here in Madison, and I hope you guys did too. And I'm excited for this podcast today. And I am so fucking happy that it is 2021. Can I get an amen? We all just collectively suffered through what was maybe the worst year of all time. And I'm so ready for it to be over. Yeah, like what an insane year. And, I know that the world is not magically better because it is now January, but I can't help but feel a little bit hopeful, maybe even a little bit optimistic, because I spent this whole last year being so incredibly pessimistic, which is very on brand for me. And ironic, of course, because that's what brought around this podcast of mine. Yeah, but I just spent so much of this year being a big fat grump because everything went to shit, and I can't help but feel relieved that we have a brighter future ahead of us, or at least I have to hold on to that because I sure fucking hope that that is really the case. But yeah, this episode is releasing on January 5th, and so I hope you all had a wonderful new year and a safe new year, of course. I'm sitting here, I'm drinking a Kahlua and hot cocoa. Well, I suppose I'm supposed to probably reverse those. It's technically a hot cocoa and Kahlua. I promise. There's only a splash of Kahlua in my hot cocoa and not the other way around. Perhaps I've already had, one too many, but that's kind of what I do when I record these on my own, because otherwise I just blab. And it's so funny when I record these episodes when it's just me, because here I am. I'm just sitting here in my apartment talking to myself, and I do have to take notes, or preemptively I jot some notes down before these episodes and just kind of do a layout of what I want to discuss. It helps me remember my ideas. But for whatever reason, when I am reading off of my little notebook and kind of scanning my points here, just the way that I don't know if I'm rushing or what it is, but I'm jumping from point to point and I get insanely out of breath. And I don't know what that is, because if I'm just sitting here saying whatever comes to mind, that same sensation does not wash over me, at least not quite in the same way. So I don't know if it's something about my notes that I get all nervous. It's funny though, because I just have to take a little second and do a sigh and press pause. But I do like doing these little episodes by myself. For one thing, it is a surefire way to keep the podcast going, because if I don't have a guest planned, I can just come on here and blabber to you all. But it is sort of funny having a conversation with just myself. It is different. It takes practice. And I shouldn't even say that it's different, because I definitely talk out loud to myself all the time. I'm one of those people 100%. I totally do that. I do that all around the house. I do it whenever I'm alone. Maybe that's part of being an only child. I feel like I just was always talking to myself all the time, but I am no stranger to that. And I do that in public too. It does not matter if people can see me. It doesn't even matter if they're in earshot, because whatever, I don't know, if it's on my mind, I'm blurting it out. That's what's happening. The other day, I was walking into Festival Foods, which for those of you who do not live in Madison is a grocery store. Actually, I think it's a chain, so perhaps you are all familiar. But yeah, I was walking into the grocery store and I was in the parking garage, and I think some woman sort of paused for me, or maybe she was backing out of her spot and I was just too impatient, so I went. So she kind of had to wait a second. And, I said something under my breath. Well, hardly. I knew she couldn't hear me. I guess this isn't really an example of talking to myself, but because it was directed at her, but I knew she could not hear me because, of course, she is tucked away in her car with the windows up. It's, 30 degrees in Wisconsin. So I knew she couldn't hear me, but I said something along the lines of well, sorry, I have to get in there, or something. And I totally 100% said it out loud. And this other man who was a few steps ahead of me, who was also walking into the grocery store, turned around and looked at me. And I kind of just gave him a shrug. We totally made eye contact, and it wasn't, I don't know. So I guess that's not really a good example, but I am 100% one of those people who just talks to themselves all the time. And yet somehow it is a skill to do it in front of this microphone. It is different. And of course I have my amazing podcast producer who makes me sound intelligent and coherent, which I am incredibly grateful for. Otherwise, this would just be a big fat mess. But a string of my insane line of thought. But yes, I do like doing these alone because I can just say whatever comes to mind and you have to listen. And isn't that fun? But that being said, I like doing these with other people too. I just love podcasting. I love talking. And, I think that's obviously a huge part of this. I could talk all day, and I do. Nothing will stop me, not even being by myself, apparently. And so we're here and we're doing it, and I'm excited to kind of just continue on with this podcast. And I truly do have so many good things planned for this podcast for the year to come, and I'm excited. But I'm recording this right now. It's kind of that funny time in between Christmas and the New Year, and you don't know what day it is, especially because I already never know what day it is. I work from home, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, and there are just so many reasons to not pay attention to what day it is right now. But I'm here, and I'm sipping on my little drink here, and I'm ready to have a little chat with you guys because, as I mentioned last week, I'm looking forward to kind of setting some intentions specifically for this podcast and what I hope to do with this little passion project of mine in the new year. And if you listened to the very first episode, you know that every year one of my New Year's resolutions is to be more positive. I set this as a goal for myself every year without fail. But, ultimately, I don't think I have succeeded the past couple of years. And, to be honest, I'm not even really a big New Year's resolution girl, so ultimately this doesn't actually, have a lot of weight for me. It just doesn't hold a lot of weight. And basically it's just half-assed from the jump. That's kind of what I'm setting myself up to do here. So I set this goal for myself, but at the same time, I think New Year's resolutions are sort of dumb. And yes, I do see the irony in waiting until January 1st to better myself. I think that's kind of part of why I think they're so silly. I think about it for the first few weeks in January, like all good New Year's resolution setters do, and then it just kind of goes out the window. And some of this comes from the fact that at the end of the day, I think New Year's resolutions are sort of pointless. I don't care for all of that New Year, New Me bullshit. And at the end of the day, a date on the calendar doesn't really mean anything has changed. But boy, does that feel different this year, because we want things to be different so badly this year that yes, 2021, that date on the calendar is so symbolic. And I figure, why not keep it going? And of course, in many ways, this year does feel different. 2020 was an absolute shit show. And I just feel like on the broader scale, there are so many good things to look forward to. We have a vaccine out. That's so exciting. I know a couple of people in the healthcare field who have already gotten it, or at least the first dose, which is, how hopeful is that? That just feels so good. I'm so ready. I want it, but I understand that I have a couple months to go. And that's okay, but it just feels good to have that out there. As well, we're also welcoming a new president, which is very exciting, on January 20th. And am I excited for that? Yes, I am. Was Biden my first pick? No, but am I excited to be welcoming a slightly more competent president into the White House? You bet your fucking ass I am. And I'm ready to just get rid of that abominable, horrible man who is currently sitting in that seat or, playing on the golf course or whatever the fuck. So we're on to bigger and better things there. And then on a personal note, I also have this podcast, this passion project that I'm working on, and I'm absolutely loving it. Just look at me being all optimistic and stuff. Isn't she cute? But I'm really loving this, and it's been a lot of fun. This is my 8th episode, so I've really only recorded 7 episodes so far, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it. So I guess I want to set the stage for this year and for this podcast and for myself as I kind of take you guys on this introspective journey with me. And I do ultimately want to become a more positive person. I do set that as a New Year's resolution resolution for a reason, even though I don't always take it that seriously. It is something I ultimately want to work on, and this podcast is one of my vehicles for doing that and for being more intentional with it. So I really want to forecast what I intend to do with this podcast and, who I intend to have on, what kinds of stories I want to tell, and all of those good things. And up until now, all 7 episodes, I have highlighted my friends, and we've been able to get on here and just kind of joke around, shoot the shit, and I love that. I want to continue doing that, of course. I have the best friends in the world. They're so supportive. I love that they're excited about this project, and I am so grateful that they want to be a part of it. It's been so much fun doing these episodes, with my nearest and dearest. And yeah, they're my people. I'm so proud of them and everything that they have going on. I love to shine a light on them and share their stories. Not to mention, we have great chemistry, so that's always a bonus. I can always count on the material to be hilarious, but I want to expand on that. And I want to have everyone on my podcast. Friends, acquaintances, perfect strangers. If you want to be on my podcast, I want you on my podcast. And, I'm open to all kinds of conversations. Sometimes they'll be themed, like my episode with Zoe. If you haven't listened to that one yet, it's fucking hilarious, and I highly recommend that you do, especially if you were, ever in your life in middle school, which most of us were. And that episode is called I Left My Heart at a Kiritoki Middle School. And, Zoe came up with that idea, and we got to chat about what we used to complain about at the age of 12 compared to now at the ripe old age of 24. And that one was such a fun one to record. It's hilarious to reminisce on those memories. And, at the end of the day, it was also so funny because we still complain about the same shit, ironically enough. You never would have guessed it. But yeah, sometimes they'll be probably themed like that. I love those. It's so fun, especially if you have an idea you want to bring to me. I am wide open, but sometimes they might be more open-ended, interview style, where we're just kind of chatting, we're carrying on a conversation, or, maybe even just getting to know each other, because that's so much fun too. And I want to get to know you. I'm excited about that. And over the course of the year, hell, I might even come on here and throw in a personal rant or two when I have something I need to get off my chest. Because, hey, this is way cheaper than therapy. But seriously, every story is a good story, unless it's not, which then, hey, don't even suggest it. Don't bring it to the table. Simple. But yeah, seriously, if you're out there and you're listening to this and you're picking up what I'm putting down, or at the very least, you think I'm funny and you have a desire to be a part of this little project of mine, let's fucking make it happen. That's what this podcast is for. And like I said, I'm all sorts of lonely, and, I hope that this will be a vehicle for me to make new friends and catch up with old friends and shoot the shit with random passersby, whatever it is. I totally want to use this as a vehicle for that. I think that that's so much fun, and that's totally the point of this. Which reminds me, if you know someone that you think would be a great guest, and, of course you have to get their permission first, but yeah, send me their contact info and we'll set up a time to record. And yeah, I'm open to all kinds of conversations. Like I said, I want to talk about everything under the sun. My tagline for this podcast is that this is a podcast by complainers for complainers. And you know how many amazing things out there are to complain about? So many. Let's talk about it. But seriously, I want to talk about how you went back to grad school because you weren't sure what you wanted to do yet. I want to complain about racking up those student loans and hear which lies you told to get an extension on that midterm paper. Let's go. I want to bitch about that awful Bumble date you went on, and I want to talk about those atrocious pajama pants that he was wearing the morning after because, girl, we know you made a mistake. Let's discuss. I want to talk about your pet peeves. I want to learn what makes you tick. I want to know it all. And it's funny because I had a friend who, I kind of pitched, I wanted her to join my podcast. I've done this to all my friends at this point. I want everyone to be a part of this that wants to be a part of this. And she was like, well, I don't even know if I have anything good to say, And of course you do. Like, here I am. I'm one of your closest friends. I talk to you all day long. I love hearing what you have to say. And everyone has something good to say. And I mean that, And sure, not everyone might be wanting to be on a podcast. I can 100% respect that, but you don't have to be up to anything in particular, because at the end of the day, whatever you're up to is totally enough. Or whatever you're not up to, let's discuss. Let's discuss why. But yeah, I want to talk about your dreams, your goals, your annoying little brother. Seriously, whatever it is, let's talk about it. That's what this is for. So I guess in summary, my intentions for this podcast are to keep it going and to bring so many fun new names and faces on and have all of these good conversations, because truly I love doing this. I love playing the interviewee. I love playing the interviewer. I think it's so fun to just have a chance to sit down and chit chat about whatever fucking thing you want to talk about. I'm down. I'm a great listener and I'm an even better talker. I'm really good at both. So yeah, I want to do all of that stuff, and I really want to create a fun community of optimists and pessimists alike who see the humor in everyday life and like to have a good time, because that's what we're here for. And that is ultimately what this podcast is all about. So on that note, thank you all so much for being a part of this community, because you are, whether you like it or not, and I seriously could not be more thankful. So cheers to 2021 and all of the complaining to come. Chat with you again next week.